All right. If you are here right now, it means you made it through all 15 modules on selecting an AI cloud provider. That is a massive accomplishment, so first off, congratulations. In this final review, we are going to tie it all together.
No, really, take a second and pat yourself on the back. You have covered a huge amount of ground. Now, it's really important to frame what we're about to do. This whole series, and this review in particular, is a high-level overview based on a comprehensive research report by Virtualization Options LLC.
And what we've talked about is just a fraction of the information in that full report. So think of this as general guidance. It's provided without warranty, and it is definitely not legal or financial advice. Because of that, you should always discuss any of these ideas with your own financial, technical, and legal professionals before taking action. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get into the good stuff.
So how in the world do we wrap up 15 modules? Well, instead of just running down a boring list, we've synthesized everything into these 5 key themes you see here. We're going to look at the foundation, the core tech stack, that whole life cycle from development to deployment, strategy, and then your path forward. Let's see how all the puzzle pieces fit together.
First up, let's dive into the AI Workload Foundation. This is all about what we learned back in modules 1 through 3. It's the absolute groundwork, the DNA that makes AI so fundamentally different from anything that came before it.
So here's the big takeaway from Module 1. AI isn't just another application. It is a complete paradigm shift. Traditional apps have these peaks and valleys of use. AI training? It's a marathon. It is just massive parallel computation that pins your GPUs at nearly 100% utilization for days, sometimes even weeks on end.
And what I love about this slide from Module 2 is how it cleanly splits the AI world in two. You've got training on one side, which is the super compute-heavy experimental phase where, long job times are okay. But then you have inference, and that is a completely different beast. It's all about speed, low latency, high throughput, and just being ruthlessly cost efficient. They demand totally different kinds of infrastructure.
And this slide, it just nails the heart of Module 3. When you're picking a GPU, it's not about one single number. It's this trifecta. VRAM, that's your memory capacity. It literally determines how big of a model you can even work with. The interconnect, think NVLink, that's the superhighway between your GPUs. And then compute capability, having things like tensor cores, that's the specialized hardware that actually accelerates the unique math behind deep learning.
So that foundation leads us right into our next big theme, the core infrastructure stack. This covers modules 4 through 7, and you can think of this as the engine room for your AI. It's the storage, the networking, the memory, all the stuff that makes it actually go. Remember in Module 4, we saw that AI storage is just uniquely demanding. You need unbelievable throughput just to keep those GPUs fed with data. And traditional storage systems, they just fall over when they hit the small file problem. Imagine trying to read millions of tiny image files at once. And things like caching and checkpointing, they're not just nice-to-haves, they are absolutely essential for performance and, frankly, for your sanity.
And why is the network so unbelievably critical? Well, this number from Module 5 says it all. 2.5 terabytes. That's how much traffic a single step in a distributed training job can generate. If your network can't handle that fire hose of data, your super expensive GPUs just sit there, waiting. The network really is the nervous system of your entire AI cluster. Module 6 introduced us to this idea of the memory hierarchy. The easiest way to think about it is like a series of waterfalls. Data has to flow efficiently from that slow, cheap remote storage all the way down to the blazing fast, super expensive GPU VRAM. Any clog in that pipeline means your GPUs are idle, and idle GPUs are just very expensive paperweights. And wrapping up this section, Module 7 gave us a huge warning about the total cost of ownership, or TCO. The hourly price of a GPU? That's just the tip of the iceberg. The real shocker here is the scale of the hidden costs. Look at data egress, just moving your data out of the cloud. In some cases, that can cost almost as much as the compute itself. It is a huge, often completely unexpected bill. Okay, so we've got our foundation and our core engine. Now let's look at the life cycle, which covers modules 8 through 11. This is where the rubber meets the road. How do we actually build, deploy, and keep these models running in the real world? So Module 8 gave us a look at the modern AI developer's toolkit. It's this powerful combo of interactive notebooks for super fast experimentation, containers like Docker to make sure you can actually reproduce your results later, and tracking platforms to log the hundreds or even thousands of experiments you're going to run. Without this setup, development is just chaos. Now, when it's time to go to production, Module 9 showed us there are really two main paths. You've got real-time inference, which is all about speed and handling unpredictable traffic from users. Then there's batch inference, which is about plowing through massive, scheduled jobs as efficiently as possible. Their goals are polar opposites, and that means their architectures have to be too. Module 10 was a bit of a shock because it took us into the physical world and showed just how different an AI-optimized data center really is. We're not talking about a small jump here. We're talking about power density that's 5 to 10 times higher than a traditional server rack. You simply cannot cool that with air. This is the point where advanced liquid cooling goes from a novelty to an absolute necessity. And Module 11 gave us this incredibly important piece of wisdom. Everyone loves to talk about multi-cloud. It sounds great in theory, but the reality is it adds a ton of operational complexity. So the key takeaway is this: unless you have a concrete, measurable reason to do it, like a huge performance or cost win, the added headache is often just not worth it. All right, this brings us to our final theme, strategy and provider selection. Pulling from our last block of modules, 12 through 15, we've got all this technical knowledge, so now how do we make the right business and strategic choices that will pay off in the long run?
Module 12 gave us a structured way to tackle this. Don't just look at the price tag. You need a balanced scorecard. You have to evaluate the technical side. Do they have the GPUs you need? How's their network? Then there's the full economic picture, including all those hidden costs. And finally, the operational reality. How good are their APIs, their documentation, their support? And if you ever do need to switch providers, Module 13 showed us that migration is a major project with distinct phases. It's not a one-and-done event. As you can see, you've got to move the data, then the models and pipelines, then the live inference services, and, this is the part people forget, you have to transition your team's day-to-day operational processes.
Module 14 hammered home the point that your job is not done at launch, not even close. Running AI in production is a continuous effort. You're not just monitoring basic server health anymore. You have to watch training curves, look for data drift in your live models, and constantly be optimizing costs by hunting down unused resources. It's a never-ending cycle.
And finally, Module 15 gave us the long view on how to future-proof your strategy. The world of AI changes at a dizzying pace. The only way to survive is to build for flexibility. With things like containers, you have to keep a close eye on technology trends, lean towards portable open source tools, and most importantly, build a team that is always learning and adapting.
And that's a wrap. From the physics of data center cooling all the way up to long-term business strategy, you now have a comprehensive framework. You really understand the what and the why behind every single layer of the AI infrastructure stack. So I'll leave you with this final thought. You've done the hard work, you've gone through the modules, you have the complete framework. The only thing left to do is to put it into action. Based on everything we've just reviewed, what is the first, most important question you are going to ask your team tomorrow?